So if you don't already know, there is a Pokemon YouTuber by the name of Shofu who organizes Cyphers every time a new Pokemon game comes out. And since Shofu and his friends started this in 2011, they've had over a decade to perfect their craft. They're so good that honestly, I don't know why they got Ed Sheeran to sing the credits for Scarlet and Violet when Shofu's been holding it down for years. Imagine if you finish the game, you just hear...
Woke up in Palatown, mama say can't no one hold me. Hat to the back, turning back to the old me. Fuck with me, got mega stones on my wrist. Charger, come out, they back away slowly. Champion bitch.
Since these guys have been writing Pokemon bars for so long, they've reached a point where these bars contain double or even triple entendres. So in this video, I'm gonna go over my favorite verses from the Pokemon Cipher saga and break down some of their hidden meaning. Hopefully this video convinces you to check out their ciphers, and if you already watched the ciphers, I think this video might help you uncover a few hidden references that you didn't already know of. Let's start with Token Black's 2019 Cypherverse.
Hey, Articuno ice pick, Rocky Mountain knife wrist, 200 flash on the dash, I'm a flight risk.
In this first line, Token is essentially flexing his iced out watch and says that his car dashboard is showing 200 miles per hour and that he's a flight risk. But there's more. The Pokemon 200 is Miss Drevis, who can learn Flash in Gen 5 and 6, giving more depth to the bar.
Had to do the dirt, cut the work like a vice grip, metal 6'5", no cap like I'm 5'6".
Now this first line is pretty obvious, you know Vice Grip is a move that cuts down a Pokemon, but the next bar is amazing. In this line, Token is referring to the Pokemon number 65, aka Alakazam, saying that he has two pieces of metal, aka... And then he says he's no cap like 5'6". Now, Pokemon 56 is Mankey, who, if you remember in the anime, actually stole Ash's hat, so you know he's not capping.
I'm the cool kid, you super nerd, you don't fit in. You hate from the outside of the decks, you can't get in.
Following that, he references the super nerd trainer in Pokemon and how they don't fit in. Then he follows it up with a reference to Look at Me Now by Chris Brown.
I don't see how you can hate from outside of the club. You can't even get in.
But he uses the Pokédex here instead of the club because in Gen 8, a big controversy was how not every Pokemon could get in the Pokédex, you know, otherwise known as Dexit. Really great bar, Token killed this. Let's move on to the next one.
Blue onions on me like great balls. Nurse joy, bitch, I ain't taking no days off. I keep that heater on me, catch you playing with fire, then that's me searing your face off.
Great balls and $100 bills are both blues, pretty basic bar. Omar then says that he never stops working like Nurse Joy. Then he says that his semi-automatic will sear your face off, using the Pokemon Semi-Sear for some really cool wordplay.
Back full of mo sodas, cause I'm all about my dough. And I got a mind state like Mewtwo. Bitch, I ain't the one to be fucking with 5-0.
He starts it off by saying that he's got dough, referencing the Malasadas from Sun and Moon. This next verse is one of my favorite. He first starts off by saying that he's got a mind state like Mewtwo, and he isn't the one to be fucking with 5-0. If you don't already know, 5-0 is basically a double meaning for the police. I think it comes from the show Hawaii 5-0, which by the way is a fire show. I remember watching that shit as a kid. But there's a double meaning here, okay? He's not the one to be fucking with 5-0. 150 is the Pokédex number of Mewtwo. Such a clean and layered bar. Let's move on to the next one from 6 Seconds, otherwise known as Shizzy.
The guard is back, I'm looking at you, peons from the stairs. The stone's fire, bitch, I've been through eons with the flare.
Now in this bar, you'll see that he's also known as the gawd. So he says, you know, the gawd is back. He's looking at you peons from the stairs. Peons being a reference to the evil team in Pokemon Coliseum. But there's another meaning here. When you go to find Arceus in the special event, he's looking down at you from a large staircase. So he's basically saying that he is Arceus in this line. The next bar references how Eevee needs a Firestone to evolve into a Flareon, and that he states that he's been with Flareon for eons. This can also be interpreted as him having a firearm, aka the Flare. Now another meaning that hasn't been confirmed for this bar could be that he's talking about Team Flare here. Since Team Flare wants to reawaken ancient Pokemon that have been asleep for eons, you know, like Xerneas or Yveltal, the Flare line could tie back into the evil team from Pokemon X and Y, but I'm not really sure, so take it as it will.
It's nothing to attack for the guap. Bitch, I keep that Draco on me and my stats never drop. I ran with the mop, ain't battle for these badges I caught. Everybody 31 won't find no trash in a box.
In this line, Shofu is obviously referencing Dracometer here, where normally your attack would drop 2 stages. Before I explain this bar though, pause the video and think, what does he really mean by everybody 31 won't find no trash in the box? Now originally, I was looking through my Pokemon decks, you know, thinking it was an entry or something, but that was completely wrong. It's a reference to how perfect IVs are actually capped at 31, which is a really cool bar. He's basically just saying that you won't find any trash Pokemon in his box. Now for the majority of these verses, I think the 2019 Cipher is probably the best one, where a lot of these guys really leveled up and performed their best bars. But GE did so good in 2016 that I have to revisit his verse and talk about it.
Your boy got outrageous flow, say you don't feel it, you must be a fairy. It had to be said, claiming you hard to Diancie at best. Super effective, I blast you with lead.
GE starts by saying that he has outrageous flow, referencing the dragon type move outrage, and that if you don't feel it, you must be a fairy type. Obviously, as dragon type moves don't affect fairies. He then says that at best you're Diancie, who is a rock and fairy type, kind of using the previous bar to lay up. Then he says that he's super effective when he blasts you with his lead, aka a steel type move, which is obviously 4 times super effective against Diancie, who's a rock and fairy type. Then he goes on to set up one of the best punchlines in any Pokemon Cypher.
Oh, here he goes with the magnums again, so exaggerated. Take you back to the gen, when choosing a lead was a tactic. You set for the battle, commences the platinum meta, and that goes the threat, so I'm saying I'm spraying with actual lead.
Okay, so this is a deep bar. He starts off by saying how people think he's exaggerating about having magnums, referencing his previous bar. Then he flashbacks us to Gen 4, where you would have to choose a lead before you started a battle. More specifically, he's calling out the Pokemon Platinum singles meta, and when Aerodactyl was a big threat in OU and a very common lead. GE then says that he's spraying with actual lead, tying up that previous bar about how people think he's exaggerating, but this also connects to the Aerodactyl lead line because he's basically saying that he's going to lead with a bullet punch, a priority steal move to super effectively hit Aerodactyl. Therefore, he's spraying with actual lead. Not to mention that Platinum obviously is also like steel in that same vein. GE consistently has some of the best Pokemon bars, and honestly, I can't wait for his verse in 2023. And by the way, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I will break down every single verse in the Pokemon Cypher 2023 when it comes out, so make sure to like and subscribe. Anyway, let's move on to the last and by far my favorite verse in any Cypher.
No cap, and they got it backwards trying to catch him. Let my brothers free when my metapod hit level 10, I pass B. I'm a savage.
Here, CDC is saying that they have it backwards, like Ash when he turns his hat back. Also, his last name is Ketchum, so plays into that. Now, this "let my butter free" could also be heard as "let my brothers free" for his Pokemon that are locked up because of Dexit, also referencing how he wants to free his brothers from jail. Then he says he will press B when his Metapod hits level 10, so he basically won't let his Metapod evolve. Now, the reason for this is that Butterfree is Pokemon number 12, so he's basically saying fuck 12, I don't want to evolve into 12, aka the police, if you don't know what fuck 12 means. Now, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I've also seen people talking online that in this bar, CTC might be using Metapod as a euphemism for his, and so when he's pressing B, he's basically trying to edge himself? Okay, this definitely might be a stretch.
Hop up on a SSN with some Mexicans that got no SS, and I'm the motherfucking captain, and it's fuck ice, this the new Enter the Dragon.
Now in this line, he's talking about SSN, the boat in Vermilion City that takes you around in Gen 1 games. So basically saying that he's going to bring anyone without a social security number across the border. This is yet again another reference to Dexit and illegal immigration to bring his Pokemon across. And you have to remember that this Cypher basically came out when Sword and Shield was coming out, so Dexit was a really big issue. It's really cool how a lot of bars reference it and kind of are a time capsule for that period. Anyway, the next line about fuck ICE can be interpreted as fuck immigration customs enforcement for stopping illegal immigration. So then he says enter the dragon, which is a reference to the famous Bruce Lee movie, but it's also fuck ice because dragon types are obviously weak to ice. I mean, it's such a layered and insane bar here. It's like, it's got comedic value in the sense where it's like, it's funny that he's bringing Mexicans across the border on his boat. And that's the reason that I love CTC's bars so much. They have a really cool lyrical factor, but are also very comedic at the same time. So you might have been watching this and now you're thinking, wow, these bars are insane. Can they get any better? Well, according to Shofu, the 2023 Cypher will be even better than the 2019 one. So make sure to follow my Twitch for when I stream my reaction to it.
The other Cyphers were just not anywhere near close to what we're trying to do this time. This is on a much bigger scale, much bigger level, much higher quality in every capacity, bro.
Now, when I saw that clip where Shofu was explaining that he wants to make the next Cypher even better than the 2019 one, I knew immediately that this is one of the best Pokemon fan projects of all time. It takes serious dedication to spend over 12 years both organizing and creating ciphers around a singular topic, and then have them be amazing both lyrically and sonically. Seriously, I've only analyzed like 1% of their ciphers, and I've somehow turned it into a 10-minute video. If that doesn't tell you that they're spitting some of the most insanely deep and packed verses about Pokemon, I don't know what will. Even then, I might be missing things here and there, so make sure to comment below if I did miss any additional meanings that you know of. And lastly, I want to end this video off with a leak for the Pokemon Cipher 2023. Yes, that's right. Shofu DM'd me a snippet of the new Cipher to hype y'all up. So I'm gonna break it down for you guys. Make sure to subscribe for this premiere content.
Pussy copy styles, trying to tell me to he a clone. I'm melting on go, bitch, I step with a chrome. Sell on game corner, get what I'm owed. Matter of fact, I'm finna
get bucks like Milwaukee. You ain't got a chance, see, I got 2 cannons on my side dud. When tie laced up, you gon' know defeat. I ball like a nugget, I ball like a nugget, I ball like a nugget.